Welcome to my channel, Lenette Looks. Today I'm going to be reviewing one of my, and I didn't know this about this book when I first started reading it, but it would become one of my favorite fantasy books. And it is The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. I must say, this book, first of all, the character Lyra, the little girl in the book, she's about 11 or 12 years old. She was one of my favorite characters. There were so many characters that were so good and likable to me. Even the darker characters I loved. I liked them. The story just came to life with the way the author wrote and described this universe, this parallel universe to what we're living in now. And as he describes in the book, there are many universes, and the one that Lyra lives in is one of them. And in that universe, your soul is visible on the outside of your body, and it is in the shape, in the form of an animal. And when you're a child, that animal form, your soul can transform into many different types of animals. It's really cool because it can be a tiger, a lion, a bird, and whatever the situation might be, your soul can basically change shape and transform. And I thought that was really, really awesome. Now, once you become an adult, you don't have that option of your demon changing and transforming. So once you become adult, it pretty much takes on the shape that it chooses. I don't know, he doesn't go into detail on how that choice comes to be, but it basically stays in one form. And that was one thing about the book that I really enjoy, that your soul would be a visible character. It would also demonstrate and show your emotions and feelings as you go through your day, your life. The story takes place at Oxford University, where Lyra is living, and she's living with all of these scholars because she doesn't have parents. And Lyra is so spunky, and like I said in the last video, she is bold and courageous, and she has tons of go-getter attitude, and I just really fell in love with her character. She is an amazing little girl, and under the circumstance where she doesn't have any parents, her spirit and her personality was bold and beautiful at the same time, because she carries herself in a way where she's like, you don't feel like she is this afraid little girl. She's willing to go out and be adventurous and be very extroverted, and she is so willing and capable to go on all of these adventures. She's definitely challenged through all of it so much, and you would think that her spunk and spirit would have just dropped. And throughout the story, you see this little girl evolve into more mature and even more go-getter attitude. The story, the descriptions of her just brought the character to life so well, and I was so excited. It was a joy for me to read, because the characters, not just her character, there were other characters that were so vivid and just as strong in the book. Lyra has a best friend named Roger, and Roger gets kidnapped by the Gobblers, this mysterious organization. And Lyra, of course, being the bold little girl that she is, and she's so loyal to her best friend, that she is going to go on an adventure to find him. She's gonna go look for her friend Roger, because there's no way that she is gonna just sit down and do nothing. And she does just that. So the story takes you on her adventure. The story takes you on her journey to find her best friend. And through this journey, she encounters witches and bears with armor and gypsies and other characters that are just so wonderful. And I thought it was just an amazing story. And because I didn't know this book would be as good as it is. I don't know why. I just didn't think that it would be. And I thought it was, this is, a kid's story. But no, it is not. This story is meant for adults as well, because there's plots in this book that I think would probably go over a kid's head, about religion and politics and spirituality and freedom. I just think that, a child would probably see it as an adventure, a journey, with Lyra and trying to get her best friend. But there's so many other things that you would get out of it. This beautiful universe, beautiful and ugly universe at the same time. It does get dark. There's gypsies and there's bears and there's witches and it's just a very fun adventure. It was thrilling, there was suspense, it was everything tangled into fantasy, magic, and also taking a look at people and what their morals are and ethics are, and the dark side of someone, the dark side of someone and the good side of someone that is wanting to do good and wanting to have a better life and wanting to explore. This book, as I said in my last video, was banned, and it was banned, when I looked further into it, it was banned in Catholic schools. And the reason why they said it was banned was because some Christian or Catholic groups thought that it was looking down upon the church or holding it in a bad light. My viewpoint is that, yes, he does bring up religion, the story of Adam and Eve, but I don't feel like it was putting down the church. I feel like it was more so a view on what happens when power gets in the wrong hands. And it's an abuse of power. And it just so happens that Lyra is going to the university and being cared for by the people in the university. It's a school of Catholicism as well. You have all of the people of the church there and stuff like that. Some of the members were abusing their power. So I honestly, that was a small portion of the story, and I thought that I didn't see that. I didn't see putting down any type of way. I thought it was just another plot to the story, and I didn't see anything really horrible about it. But that's my opinion. And it was a very small portion of the storyline. Overall, I feel like it wasn't about religion. It was about abuse of power and what happens when that power is in the wrong hands, and what people like that are willing to do with that power. So you can have someone that is good-hearted and power in his hands. Obviously, they'd want to do good and help people. And then obviously power in a person that is not so ethical, doesn't have a lot of good morals, and he or she will do the total opposite of somebody who has good intentions. That was the controversy, and I think that the book is so much bigger than that. It makes the reader look at morality. It makes the reader look at ethics. It makes the reader look at humanity, at freedom, to be free to look and choose and have the ability to have free will and to voice that and to question when you feel like something is not right. And I think that is an amazing thing to have in a book, especially in a book that's geared towards maybe 12-year-olds and up. It was so amazing, and I enjoyed it so much. Every day that I read it, I read the ebook, and I also listened to the audiobook, and it was so wonderful. So I recommend, if you are a lover of fantasy and you want to read something adventurous with suspense, something that has good versus evil and magic and witches and the power of keeping the faith and the power of loyalty, then this book is definitely one to read. If you like Harry Potter, if you've read Harry Potter, if you saw the movies, this is similar to that good and evil type of tug of war and battle. And it's awesome. It's so up there for me with Harry Potter and if you've read the Chronicles of Narnia or seen the movie, maybe even Lord of the Rings. I just think it's really high up there with the top fantasy books in that genre. So I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, and I was so like wanting it not to end. I wanted it to continue, and it did leave you with a cliffhanger because, again, this is part of a trilogy, so it's a 3-book series. So on that note, I am definitely going to be reading the second and third book because the story is going to continue. The adventure is going to continue. Lyra is going to go on another adventure, it seems. I'm not going to give away the ending, but obviously with book 2 and 3, you know that the adventures will continue. Another thing that I wanted to read is what the author had to say about the controversy on the book. And I thought, because I was, while researching, I wanted to hear what he had to say. He wrote the book. He knows what his intentions were. So I wanted to see if there was an interview with him. And there was. I wanted to see what the author had to say from him personally, instead of just hearing or reading the other side of the story. I wanted to also get his side, of course, because he's the one who wrote the book, and I loved it so much. I wanted to hear what he had to say about it. I mean, another thing about the book that I loved is that he is such a great writer. The descriptions, the world just comes to life, and I love the pace. It wasn't slow, it wasn't very fast, it moved at a perfect pace, and it was just non-stop adventure and suspense and intrigue. And I couldn't predict really what was going to happen next. It was so good. He was so good at having that mystery there. And it was very unpredictable. At least for me, I was like, wow, this is like totally new. And I enjoyed it so much. So anyway, this is what the author Philip Pullman had to say when asked about the controversy and what his agenda was in writing this book. So he said, I've been telling stories for 30, 40 years now. My agenda is not to convert anyone to any particular point of view. My agenda is to make them feel, see, enjoy, delight in, beguiled, and amused by the story I tell, which is about 2 ordinary children in extraordinary circumstances. That's my agenda. I'm telling a story. I'm a storyteller. If people go away from the book, put the book down, and think about things more deeply than before, that's good. I trust the reader. I trust the audience. I trust them to have the sense to see what the qualities are that the book is championing. I don't think anyone could read this book and think that it is intended to rob children of happiness, or to rob children of anything but to do wonder and delight. I think the qualities that the book celebrates are these, such as kindness and love and courage and courtesy too, and intellectual curiosity. All these good things. And the qualities that the book attacks are cold-heartedness, tyranny, closed-mindedness, cruelty, the things we all agree are bad things. Do I have an agenda? I have an agenda of every storyteller, which is to make the reader turn the pages and read on to the end of the book. As one of my great heroes said, Samuel Johnson, the true aim of reading is to enable the reader better to enjoy life or better to endure it. That's my agenda. And I thought that was awesome. What an amazing answer to that. And I totally agree. After reading this book, it has all of that. And it really does capture kindness, love, loyalty, what you would do with the loyalty that you have towards the people in your life. You know, what your actions are, what your actions would be. And it doesn't encourage all those bad qualities. It actually makes the reader look and say, wow, you know, I can persevere through these bad situations and do my best and try again, because my loyalty to my beliefs and what I believe in is that strong. Obviously, I really loved the book. I enjoyed it. I totally recommend it. And I hope that you get a chance to read it, especially the audiobook. The audiobook just brought the book even more life than it already was. So I am delighted. I am fascinated by his writing. Philip Pullman did such a great job, and I'm looking forward to reading more of his works. So on that note, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. Otherwise, this is going to be a very, very long video. So that's all for now, and thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.